Hey everyone, thanks for joining. I have a guest today that I've been stalking on social media for 6 to 8 weeks now. His message is awesome, his heart is pure, and he's doing deals. So let's welcome Austin Zabak to the show. How you doing, Austin?
I'm doing really good, Michael. I appreciate you having me on the show, and just excited to drop a bunch of knowledge.
Very, very cool. Well, do me a favor, just introduce yourself in your own words. What do you do? Where are you at? You know, what's kind of Austin's story?
Sure. Yeah, I'm 24 years old, live in Arizona, and right now we do a couple of different things. We run a real estate wholesaling company. We also we do fix and flips every now and then. It's not too much of that right now. So, I would say, on a small level, we're fix and flippers. I own a traditional real estate company, so I got some agents that are working with me, and then we're obviously looking to scale that in 2020. Also have an ATM company, marketing agency, and a couple of other things that we do.
So not a lot going on is what I hear you say.
Exactly. I'm real free. I got a lot of time. If anybody's got any ideas, any app ideas, startup ideas, send them my way.
That's awesome. So a couple of things as you rattle that off. I've never met anybody in the ATM business. I didn't even know ATMs were a thing. I thought banks owned them. I've seen some of your social media posts on them. So why don't you introduce folks to why that's a great investment?
Yeah, sure. I love that. Every time I get a guy on the phone or on anything that tells me they know nothing about the business, it is just music to my ears, because it tells me I picked an industry that is untapped, which I love. But look, the ATM business is really cool. Here's why. I've been in real estate for not as long as you, Michael, but relative to my age, not that you're old, you're a young guy. But hey, I've been in the real estate business for 6 or 7 years, and I've always loved the idea that everything's negotiable, right? It doesn't matter what kind of deal you're doing. Mm-hmm. If you can get it on a contract and you can figure out how to word it, you can get it to a company, and you can pretty much get it done, right?
Yep.
And the same thing with the ATM business. You buy that ATM machine, and that's your machine. That's no different than a camera or a car or anything. That is just a piece of equipment that you own now, and you can do whatever in the world you want to do with that machine. If you want to put it in your living room and do poker night and charge your friends $20 to pull out money, you can do that. And so, I love that. I love that about the business. And so, sky's the limit, right?
Very, very cool. So I think you answered the question, because my next question after we got by the ATM machine was, must have started at 18 in the real estate business?
Yeah, 18 going on. Yeah, I was about mid 18. Yeah.
So it would have been about 2012, 2013-ish, right?
Yep.
Timeline?
More 2013.
Okay.
Yeah, I was looking into it and doing a ton of research probably 2012 going into 13, but I hadn't really pulled the trigger. I would say even 2014 is when I was active. I was like, okay, I'm hunting. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And for the record, you can call me old because my daughter is older than you. So that just puts it in perspective.
You don't look it,
I appreciate you. So, okay. So let's talk about 2014, right? You educate yourself, you get excited, you see what's possible. Where does Austin jump in first? Do you just start wholesaling immediately? Is that kind of where this all begins?
Yeah, because what happened was, and I don't know how much you know, Michael, but when I was a little kid, I was 7 or 8 years old. I grew up in my grandparents' garage. So okay. I was already, an entrepreneur, because at 8 years old, my grandpa said, hey, you got to go earn money. And I said, okay, well, how? And he goes, well, I own a pool company. They didn't have a ton of money, right? Excuse me. My grandparents didn't have a ton of money. So my grandpa taught me the pool company, right? He said, you got to go make money. And so I learned this industry. And anyways, from 8 years old till probably about 15, I made, $300,000 or $400,000 or $500,000 in cash. Right? I was making 40 or 50 grand a year by the time I was 10 or 11. Wow. So, and I blew every penny, right? Nobody ever told me what to do. So by 15, I was working corporate. And by corporate, I just mean one-off jobs, right? Nothing crazy, but I was working for the man, by 15. Because I had to, because the economy went down. Do the math. When I was 15 or 14, the economy wasn't doing good, and so I had to sell. Nobody wanted their pool cleaned.
Right.
So, basically I got into the corporate world and then, worked a ton of jobs, got into network marketing, did the network marketing thing. And then at about 18 or 19, I started out in real estate, and I read a book, actually. I don't know if you ever met him or if you've seen him, called, his name's Nick Ruiz.
Mm.
Okay. Like our last names. And I read it, and his book's called Flip. And it's all it's called is just Flip. And he's a real, I've actually never met him to this day. I should reach out to him because I tell his name in all my stories, so he'd probably like to know that. But but anyways, I read his book, and then I start typing in wholesaling right all over the computer.
Yeah.
And one of my old mentors was running ads and putting them in front of me because of what I was typing in, right?
Yeah.
So, that's how I got into wholesaling. So yeah, long answer to your question, I now 18 or 19, I'm just doing wholesaling because I don't know any better. Obviously, sure. I'm working this job that I hate, by the way. But I've blown all my money up until this point. Like, I've learned a lot of money lessons. I've made really good money, but I just, wasn't that good. So, I'm wholesaling, I'm working this job. And yeah, I just kind of start doing enough deals to where I'm like, I could do more,
Yeah, that's awesome. So being an entrepreneur at 8, 10, 12, making, decent money, your story is inspiring because first off, we all blow our first real money. I mean, I did the same thing, right? We don't know any better. We don't come from a lot. We get a little paper and we spend it on just stupid things. So been there, done that, check, got it.
Yeah.
But so you start wholesaling. Are you just driving for dollars? Are you doing, I guess it was probably postcards back then was the thing. Just in Phoenix? Oh, direct mail?
Direct mail. And it didn't work. You know what I mean? I want to be very clear because I didn't work it, right? I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I don't remember exactly, but I lost some money, and I learned the hard way that wasn't the answer. And it actually took me a long time to close my first deal. I want to say it took me like 8 or 9 months to close my first deal. And again, I was I wasn't all in right at the time, which is really counterintuitive to who I am as a person. Actually, it was a very weird, very, very, very weird year of my life because ever since I've been a little kid, I'm how you do anything is how you do everything, right? Go all in, and I'm very loud, I'm obnoxious, and I'm just very committed. So, but anyways, yeah, nonetheless, I'm direct mailing, I'm door knocking, I'm doing just all this junk. We use Google Voice, right? Like, or Google, that Google number you get for free. There was no text, there was no email blast, really. None of that really existed, right? Mm-hmm. If it did, it wasn't popular. Nobody was talking there. First of all, social media wasn't popular. Mm-hmm. So, you got this interesting time where all the gurus that you see right now were not, if they were wholesaling, they weren't talking about it yet.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
I agree.
Yeah.
So again, I wanted people to hear a couple of things. I'm taking notes to make sure I catch everything. First and foremost, didn't get your first deal for 8 or 9 months. I think people need to hear that. They need to realize it's not an 8-day exercise, 8-week exercise, right? It's 8 months. And then, everything you try doesn't work. Even Austin wastes money, right? You weren't kind of committed to direct mail and you lost some money. Yeah. People need to hear these things because they look at guys like you and they go, oh my God. First off, they probably say, if he can do it, I can do it. Because they don't appreciate the uniqueness that is Austin, right? I mean, that's, you are, like you just said, right? You're loud, you're obnoxious, but that gets you attention. Not everybody has that. And people think the game is easy also, right? They see the checks on social media and all of that. So what are some nuggets you can drop for folks to encourage them, but also remind them it's not easy?
Yeah, man, it's a tough one because I go back and forth with my message sometimes on some of this because, I gave everybody listening a snippet of my story, but I've been through, man. I had a heart attack when I was 15 years old. I've had a couple knee surgeries. I've dislocated my knees 60 or 70 times. I've worked 19 jobs, actually, to be exact. I could write them down on a piece of paper. I've been a part of 4 network marketing companies, and I've failed 9 businesses. So, I've owned exotic car rental companies, golf cart limousine companies. I've owned a lot of things that I don't talk about. but a lot of them have failed. And so, man, to go back to your question, I have failed so many more times than I've succeeded. It is ridiculous. I mean, it is out of this world, right? I wake up, I almost wake up every day and just fail flat on my face. Like the amount of ideas that I have on a monthly basis that we try and implement around this place. I'm in a 4,500 square foot office here, looking at Camelback Mountain in Scottsdale, Arizona, and my whole team's on board with it. By the way, they're like, "Hey, if we're gonna fail, we're gonna fail the Zayback way or something like that." I'm really humble in the sense that, like, I want to fail, man. I want to learn. I want to grow. I want to evolve. And I think so many people, they just want to be successful. And I think where that comes from, if I can just take an extra minute on it, is I've made a lot of money many times in my life and lost it all. I've always kind of, one of my mentors used to tell me, he said, Austin, he said, in life, you're either gonna eventually humble yourself or you're gonna get humbled. Right. And he said, that's with everybody in life. He said, everybody in life that ever will make a lot of money. He said, at some point when people make a lot of money, like people that win the lottery or these athletes that you hear about, the statistics, it's you're going to humble yourself or you're going to get humbled, whether that's the universe or God or whatever you believe in, and many times in my life, I've had to get humbled. I'll be honest. Right. There's many times in my life, my ego is bigger than my bank account, and I had to get humbled. And so, in those moments, you've got more month at the end of the money, right? Mm-hmm. Not the other way around. And, those are the moments where you're like, man, you get on your hands and knees and it's like, I'll never do it again. I need another shot. I got it. And then I stand up and I go, and I'm all in again, right? And so I guess the answer to your question is the only way you're going to get me to quit is to kill me right here and now, right? Like I can't, I won't, I'm addicted. I'm committed. It's the one thing, right, that I love. I'm passionate about it. I have to chase it. I have to, like, this is hunger, right? And I can't not have it in my life. And so, but now it's a little bit different, right? Where it comes from a place of, I look at the failure differently. I look at the failure through a different perspective. And I understand that what is this teaching me, right? Why am I going through this right now? And I try to look at it in the moment, because most people, they only want to connect the dots looking backwards, right? Mm-hmm. Steve Jobs, I'm only going to connect the dots looking backwards. But what if we could connect a few of them looking forward? Mm-hmm. What if we could look at it and say, okay, my girlfriend broke up with me. My boyfriend broke up with me. This person passed away. That business failed. This business partner left me. I lost $185,000. What is that teaching me, right? Patience, grit, resilience. What is it teaching me, and why do I need that in my life moving forward if my goal is here? Right?
That's awesome.
So I don't know,
That's awesome. So let's try to do our best to kind of walk people through your journey. And we'll go back to 2014, which is your first year you started doing stuff. I assume you're a solopreneur in 14. Is that a fair assumption? Or did you just jump in with, okay.
No, for sure.
Yeah. So paint 14 for us in a couple of minutes. What was that like? How to start, how to finish? What's going on?
Yeah, so I'm sitting in my home home office. In my home office, I mean, I got my bed in that corner and my desk in that corner. You know what I mean? Yeah. And in a garage, by the way. Okay, so to be very clear, I'd already moved out a few times and moved back into so I have this garage built in my grandparents' house. It's still there to this day. All it is just a wall dividing the single car from the three car. And then the floor is raised up about 6 inches, and I've got carpet, But anyways, so, I moved back in, and I'm just working, and every day I got my vision board. I still have my vision board to this day. It's on the wall. And, I'm kind of scared, believe it or not, which is actually surprising looking back at it. Every now and then I kind of go back there mentally, but it wasn't the easiest thing in the world, right? Every day I was sending a little bit of direct mail. So I'm sending postcards. I'm calling Craigslist, right? I'm on Facebook. I'm doing a bunch of that stuff, just trying to land a deal, right? Mm-hmm. And at the end of that year, I finally landed a deal. I don't really remember what I make, to be totally honest with you. It was under $10,000. I can tell you that. It wasn't more than $10,000. And that changed my life. Changed my life. Not the money didn't change my life, by the way. I made, but I didn't have a lot of money, but I had $20,000 or something in the bank that I had saved up from, just like that I didn't spend, and the belief of, wait a minute, I could do real estate, right? Donald Trump, our president, he wasn't president then, but he does real estate. He did real estate. It's like, this is where a lot of like 90, I think it's like 97% of or something of every self-made millionaire and billionaire on the planet acquired their money initially through real estate. So it's like, I could do that too, and that was a game changer. And then from there, I started closing deals,
It's amazing how that happens, right? The first deal takes time. If memory serves, it took you 9 months. Yep. You tried lots of things, the postcards, the Craigslist, all that stuff. But then the first one happens, light bulb, belief, confidence, and then they just start trickling in. So as you roll into 15 now, when did you go, this is bigger than me, I want more infrastructure, whether that's a transaction coordinator or a seller? When was that kind of next step for you, Austin?
Yeah, so here's the thing. I've gone in my wholesaling journey, I can get into it a little bit. I've built wholesaling things up and like they've come down a few times. And I guess the best way to describe that really quick is that I've had partners throughout the years that weren't the right partners, and that's probably the best way to put it. So I've had to. So like, anyways, but so in the beginning, yeah, I decided, I think at one point I needed an assistant, and I don't know why. I thought, I'm like, okay, this is what I need. And the reason why was because I had gotten my real estate license. Right? So now I'm double ending deals. So what I would do is there's a couple different things I would do. Back then, I would write offers on DMLS for one of my mentors' behalf. So it'd be his LLC. I would write offers representing him to make 3% commission. And then he would make a wholesale fee. And then he would tell the guy that he sold it to, hey, I got an agent on the back end that'll sell it at 1.5. So now I'm making 4.5% on every deal at a minimum, assuming I never did a deal with that guy. Right? But I'm doing every deal with my partners. So we're making a bunch of money doing that. And so that was a lot of fun. I hired an assistant, and then that was pretty much it. I went through a couple of different assistants, and I never really, I'm trying to think, it was another year or something. And again, this is way back in the day before a lot of different things. So, before I got like cold callers and I had people sitting on the dialers, it was probably another year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And just so we're clear, when you say assistant, was that somebody in the Philippines, kind of remote, or was that somebody in, you had another desk in your garage?
No, I hadn't. No, at this point, I moved. So I had moved now, right? I moved around a lot, man. It's really hard for me. I moved, I think, into my broker. I had a broker that was really cool where I hung my license. I'd go and get my real estate license, right? I probably closed 50 or 100 deals, wholesale. Yep. And then a real estate license. And then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go get an office at the brokerage. Okay. And I'm gonna work out of there, right? And so now I hire an assistant, and she's working out of there with me. Cool. In person. Yeah. And I probably had it. I mean, I'd have to think about it, but I had a couple of VAs too that did just minor stuff, for us.
Very cool. So one of the things I want to make sure we talk about, because so many people are out there looking at your story, and maybe rightly or wrongly, they're going, I'm young, I'm hungry, I got time. I just heard Austin say he got his license. Should I get my license? I'm assuming you get that question a lot, right? So let's assume you're sub 25, you're just out of high school, just out of college, you're motivated, you're hungry. Do you think they should spend the 45 days or whatever it is getting their license? Or how do you kind of answer that question?
It's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. I think if people think, like, here's what I get a lot. I get a lot of people that are like, I want my license. I'm committed to it. They're already committed to it mentally, right? Mentally, they've sold themselves on getting it. But they're like, I've heard people say, you're not supposed to wholesale with a real estate license. So let me debunk that. That doesn't matter. This is a disclosure thing, right? You just got to disclose that you're an agent. Mm-hmm. There's other than that. I mean, consult with whoever you need to consult with, but there's no problem there, right? There's no issue. Put the deal in an LLC. Tell everybody in the transaction that you're an agent. You are not representing somebody in that transaction. You just hold a license, right? Mm-hmm. and you're good. You're in the clear. So don't let that be the reason you don't get your license if you're already committed to getting it, right? Get your license. Now, if you're on the fence, I mean, like, look, if you haven't done any deals in wholesaling, one or the other is not any easier. I get a lot of people too. They're like, well, wholesaling hasn't really been working for me. I'm going to go get my real estate license. Then they do that for 6 months. They're like, yeah, it doesn't really work. I'm going to go become a lender. You know what I mean? It's like, that doesn't really work. I haven't been able, I'm going to go get my insurance license. It's like, well, they're all the same, right? You may as well go be a car salesman too. Like you got to build a Rolodex of people. You've got to build relationships. You've got to, there's certain things that are going to apply to every one of those businesses. So, look, if you can get your license and do it all, man, like I'm committed. I'm addicted to this deal. I work 12, 14, 15 hours a day. I can do both, right? I'm scaling, I'm delegating, I'm doing different things. I would probably focus on one or the other in the beginning and then get some deals under your belt, right? If I was brand new, I would probably get some deals under my belt, either wholesaling or traditionally, and then I would be like, okay, maybe I could do both, right?
Yeah, I think that's the answer. What you just gave us is be committed, right? You kind of went back to your story, right? If we go back to 2014, you even admitted you weren't quite committed, right? You were kind of busy, you were kind of trying things, but you weren't committed. That was your word. So yeah, I would say if you're going to be an agent, go be an agent. And again, to Austin's point earlier, once you get that first deal, you create belief and confidence and all of that. So again, Austin's given you a lot of stuff that will help you. Don't be distracted. Don't try to go down 2 lanes at the same time. It doesn't work, right? Just pick one and go, right? Fail fast, right? Again, something Austin gave us. He looks for failure. He wakes up that way and he just keeps leaning forward and look at the man. Look at what he's done. All right, so let's paint the vision now. One thing I love that you've done, probably on purpose, but for some people it's by accident, is now when you attract a deal or a lead, whatever you want to call that, you can disposition it whatever the most efficient route is. I mean, right?
Yeah.
So your cost per lead is, I don't know, I guess it'd be revenue per lead is higher than almost anybody else out there because you can literally go full retail to wholesale. Is that fair?
Oh yeah, for sure. And in multiple different markets. I mean, we really cracked the code on this thing. We're in like 7 markets right now.
So talk about that. When you say 7 markets, is that 7 cities in Arizona or is that 7 states?
7 states.
Wow. Yeah. When did you go? Were you always, did it start in Arizona and you went out, or maybe you were wholesaling it out of some other city in the beginning? I don't know. Started
in Arizona. At one point I thought, hey, I should go virtual for a little while. Here's the thing with Arizona. Okay, you probably know. Yeah. Arizona, depending on who you talk to, I mean, my opinion is that it is the most saturated, competitive market in the country. Period.
No yes.
Without a shadow of a doubt. There's just no question about it. So, this is weird market we live in here. Like, it's just an odd freaking market. I've never been able to explain it, but. That being said, I would start in your own market, right? I would start in your own backyard.
Yep.
Virtual wholesaling is not that hard. I'm not saying it's that hard. In all honesty, I mean, to be honest with you, Michael, I could probably do a virtual wholesale deal just as easy as I can do a regular deal at this point, right? Right next door, just because I just got it dialed in. I just figured it out, But it took me a little bit of time, and I had some trial and error and trying to get people and, figure out who's going to take my pictures and like how to get them to DocuSign and
Yeah.
But nonetheless, start in your own backyard. Go on the appointment, sit at the dinner table. Yeah. I used to go pick up dinner, right, for the sellers. I'm really good with sellers, okay, Michael? So I'm really good. Like, I'm like, okay, what do people do? Human beings, they eat. They eat when they negotiate. People eat, right? They talk and they eat. So I'd like go pick up. I'd figure out what they liked. I'd knock on their door. I'd have food. We'd sit down on the recliner. And anyways, I get contract like 9 out of 10 times.
Nice.
But yeah, so, in your own market, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, Michael, to start somewhere and start wholesaling, and then just scale, go from the one market and then you might not want to do multiple markets. You might want to just scale in your one market, Yeah. Like I think a lot of people, they watch people like you, Michael, or me or whoever, and it doesn't even have to be in the real estate industry, any industry. And they want to be so much like one guy or 2 guys. And it's like, hey, treat it like a buffet table, right? Take what you like, leave what you don't like, and build your own life. There's 1,000 ways to do this thing. You do not have to do it the way you've done it or I've done it. There might be a couple things that you like. Great, take that, and run with it.
Very cool. I love all of that. So tell us about your brokerage, right? Did that just come to be in 19, 18? When did that happen? And what's your vision for it?
Yeah. So to be clear, I have a broker that I hang my license with. So
okay.
I do have a team though. So I have a team.
That's what I meant. Team.
So it's a Zabac group. And actually, believe it or not, that's something I started this year.
Okay.
And the reason why was because I kind of went on a tangent. I didn't show a lot of wholesaling or real estate at all for about a year or a little bit of, because I was building social media and it was an awkward time. And I couldn't quite crack the code on doing both. I was having internal like staffing problems. So it was just a lot of work, but I was scaling social media, which was a big deal at the time and still is. And I'm about to do another really big push on social media, by the way. And so I got my license, so then, I remember. And so people were like, now I have this big social media platform, right? And people are like, yo, Austin, I want to join your team. And I'm like, what team? and so internally, right, I'm like, I don't have a team. But I'm like, and then enough people ask me, I'm like, I should have a team,
Yeah, you should have a team.
Yeah, because I'm just like, it's just free money at this point, And it's a way to scale. It's a way to get bigger. It's a way to create more omnipresence. It's a way to just do more. And so I started a team in February of 2019. Yeah. I started the Zabac group. And that's where I brought on probably 10 agents so far. I'm a little bit selective of who I bring on.
Good.
A couple of those are not with me already because I've had to let them go, unfortunately. I've already learned some lessons there, right?
Yeah.
But I think 2020 will be a really big year for that. I'm curious to see where that goes in a couple of years. I don't even know where traditional real estate will be in a couple of years, but nonetheless, we're gonna pour fuel onto the fire and see what happens.
Yeah, there you go. So I guess so as we round out 2019, right? We're almost into a new decade, which is crazy. You're in 7 markets, I think I got down. So what does Austin's year look like? Did you I don't know, is it 70% out of Arizona, 30% in? I'm just trying to get a feel for how diverse your business is.
Yeah. It's probably 70 or 80% out of state.
Okay.
Yeah, a big number. And we do a lot of acquisitions. So we don't do as much dispositions. And the reason why, for right now, it is very we've got acquisitions kind of dialed in. So for us to turn around and go try to market that deal, we're now not doing acquisitions, right?
Yep.
So there's a few other guys out there that are really good at dispositions that we just link arms with.
Yep.
And we bring the deal in and we just give it to them.
Yep.
Right? Bring the deal in, give it to them. Bring the deal in, give it to them. And then we split the deal 50-50 and we end up doing 2 or 3 or 4 times as many deals because we're not trying to do both, right? And now, I'm not saying that long-term I don't want to build dispositions. I've done it before, by the way, Michael. I've built a couple of disposition things, not on the scale, though, that some of these other guys have, and I'm not even sure that I want to. We'll just have to kind of play it by ear.
Yeah.
So right now, our time is spent doing acquisitions in different markets and then just selling those deals, And by the way, that makes it that much easier because we've only got to master one piece of the business.
Yeah.
In a new market, right?
I think that's first off, I applaud you. I think that's genius, right? You create focus, leverage, you accelerate learning. There's so many pluses in that when you don't divide your focus, especially you as the leader up top, but then all the infrastructure, right? You got to hire, train, fire, grow 2 ways, right? Because it's a different ballgame. Going 50-50 with a trusted team who does dispositions is awesome. Better leverage, better time efficiencies, there's really no downside. Some people are going to look at that going, oh my God, I got to give 50% away. But if you can do 2 or 3x the number of deals because you dial in acquisitions, you win. And people don't see that.
Right. Yeah. Our goal in 2020 is to do 300 deals a month.
A month?
Yeah, a month. So, that's the goal, right? So, but do the numbers on that. I mean, 300 deals a month. Even if you were making $5,000 a deal, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm doing that math. Yeah. What is that?
1.5 a month. So,
shit.
you're looking at an $18 million a year company that our expenses are probably only $2 million.
I'm just curious because you threw out numbers. What's been your biggest transaction month so far? Roughly. It doesn't have to be exact.
We've had some big months. 6 figures. I mean, multiple 6 figures. We haven't broke yet. I don't think I've ever broke like 300, probably as crazy. We really, I had to like kind of pull back a little while for a minute. I found myself at one point with a bunch of people that they were all really great people. They just didn't align with what we were building, and I didn't see that for a long time. And so it was actually hurting us inside to let go, and I had to kind of restructure. So, I didn't want to get too big and not realize that. So I take like a really good hard look at what the kind of people around me. And so that's kind of we're on the tail end of that right now. So now I've cleaned out a little bit. I've really everybody here now is like freaking, they're laser focused, they're dialed in. And dude, it's just, we're preparing now for 2020 now, and we're doing deals, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, so it'll be really, really cool to see.
Yeah. So I might have missed, you may have heard my question wrong, and I didn't intend it to be a numbers or a dollar one. You said 300 transactions a month. So is your biggest transaction month 50, 55, 60?
Sorry, I went from 300 deals to 300 grand. Biggest transaction month. Oh, you're talking about how many deals equaled that 300.
Yeah. Or what? I mean, it could have been another month. What? Just
no, we've done 50 plus. Okay. Under 100. We probably done, probably a little bit under 50 actually. 40, 47 or 48.
That's still awesome. Yeah. That's cranking. And I think
that was only in 3 markets.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And I guess I'd be remiss if I didn't ask what markets you're in or states.
Now we're in Atlanta, Orlando, Texas, Arizona, Vegas, California, and I think that's it. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Yep.
This is going to be a lot of fun. So you talked about your social media presence. That's obviously where I bumped into you and have been tracking you. Why don't you're doing some pretty special things. Why don't you talk about your vision for that? Because you're one of the folks out there really doing it. So why don't you talk about your social media?
Yeah, so man, I tell you what, we're about to do a really big push. We had to scale. Right now I need internally, it takes quite a bit to get to really big places on social media, because you've got to have a big team behind you. You can't do the solo deal and have 3 million subscribers on YouTube. It doesn't work. Right? So we're building a big studio right now. I haven't actually said that on anything live yet.
Wow.
I haven't posted about it. It's actually right behind this wall right here. So it'll be like a big studio and like a full, if anybody's seen Impulsive, like Logan Paul Impulsive, I know it's a totally different niche industry, but the studio will look kind of like that. It isn't going to be niche specific. So it's just going to be a show.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because I'm going to be able to bring in more people, more guests that are just like real estate related. And I'm going to get to pick their brain in different industries. And we're going to be able to have a lot of fun with it to create a lot of subscribers on that particular platform. And then take those people and start shoving them over to our personal YouTube channels, to our personal Instagrams. And then we're about to scale all of that too, which we know how to do. We've just been having to kind of wait and to lay the infrastructure. So, I think 2020, I think 1 million plus followers on Instagram at a minimum, and 500,000 minimum subscribers on YouTube, at a very minimum. Wow. is very realistic for what we're like. It's almost too realistic. I mean, it's already a done deal, right? It's already happened. Yeah. So we're getting there, but yeah, social media is a lot of fun, man. I tell you, it's really cool. If people can crack the code on social media, there's a lot of benefit there.
Very, very cool. So here's a question I want to ask a guy like you who's been hustling since he was 8 years old, made and lost a bunch of money, clearly successful now, has big visions for 2020. What does 2030 look like, right? Are you finally retired and collecting checks? Are you still hungry and running a team of 100 people? Or can you even think that far? You're so busy all the time?
Man, you got good questions. I'll tell you what. That's a really good question. I don't know that I have this like weird thing internally. Every 90 days, I'm a new person, right? So every 90 days, I evolve, I grow, and I learn, and I consume so much knowledge, and so much happens in a week. Because I'm working. You got to remember, and this isn't like some Gary V pitch. Like I love what I do, right? I work 15 hours a day, 6 days a week at a minimum, right? So, and then I got people around me doing the same thing. So we work in a week what the average our competition, it'd be really tough to compete, right?
Yeah.
So in 10 years, man, I tell you, well, here's the thing. I want to change the world, right?
There we go.
Yeah, it's not about money. Like I've had the Lamborghinis, I've had the Audi R8s, I've had the Hublots, we've had the Rolexes, I've lived in 3 penthouses, I've traveled the world. And none of it fulfilled me, right? I remember days driving my Lamborghini down the road, not in a good mood. I drove my Audi R8 down the road in a bad mood. I've worn this watch, wherever the heck I even have it right now, in a bad mood. None of it's made me happy. So what has made me happy every single time is giving, right? I've gone to Nicaragua a few times with my church, and self-funded, and we've built houses down there. And we've given back. I've done that, and I've just, that right there is really, 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 it's a cool feeling. I'll tell you what, anybody that has ever had the opportunity to give. That I want to do way more of that, right? But in order to do that on a big level, you got to make a lot of money. Okay. Oh, yeah. So, by 30, I've always wanted a jet. Okay. I think I can buy a jet by 2030. I think I can buy a jet. I kind of want a jet by the time I'm 28. So I want a jet in 4 years.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. So, that's just a personal goal of mine. But, again, a jet will get me places quicker.
Yeah. Yep.
Talks about, right? So, and then from there, I think I want to figure out a way to get on stages, to inspire people, to show people what's possible, to have hopefully some foundations and to give back. But yeah, man, I got to be busy. Hopefully I'm busier than I am now,
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I can't have free time. Free time does not do me well. I'm not good. I sit on the beach for 12 minutes and I'm bored. I'm like, I gotta get up, man. I gotta go do something,
Gotta do. That's awesome. So yeah. I don't know that we said this in your introduction. Are you married, single, have kids, thinking about kids? Because that could happen in a decade.
Kids, single, and not really looking for any of that. You know what I mean?
Now that you put that out there, you know what's going to happen. You're going to go get coffee and meet your future wife. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, right. Take the special. It take a girl that for everybody watching, right? Like you've got to find somebody that depending on what level you're going after, you got to find somebody that's on the same level as you, because otherwise you're never going to do it. It's never going to happen. Like now, if you just want to go make a couple $100,000 a year, you might be able to pull it off where like you each do different things. You come home at 7 o'clock. It's like, hey, honey, how was your day?
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, you're going to have to in my world, somebody's got to do the same thing that I do, because there isn't no come at home 7 o'clock. How was your day? It'd be like, it'd take me a whole nother day to tell you how my day was.
Exactly. Yeah. There was something there you just gave that I want other people to realize, right? Whoever you pick as your significant other, man, woman, whatever it is, you've got to make sure that they have the kind of same vision, drive that you have. Otherwise, it's just a fight and stress you just don't want or need that'll distract you. Yep. One of my greatest, luck, success, whatever I had is meeting Olivia and seeing that she was on board with everything we've ever done, right? We made mistakes along the way that could have easily crushed our dreams of retiring early. But she's like, nope, pick ourselves up. Let's go. I mean, she saved us multiple times by saying, let's just go. So make sure you have those conversations. Ask yourself,
coming from somebody that out, right? Like you figured that out, and that's really powerful. You know, I look up to guys like you know, in all different areas of my life, you know, where I'm trying to figure out like how, you know, how do these guys like I study guys like you as much as you study guys like me. So the feeling is mutual.
Yeah, very, very cool. As we wrap this up, Austin, anything else you want to leave, or how to follow you, how to get a hold of you if you're an agent, you want to be a part of the team, right? You know, take as much time as you want. How can people follow you and be a part of your world?
I'm at Austin Zabak on every platform that there is. So my name, probably similar to your name.
Yeah.
My name, there's not a lot of people that have my name. You search me on there's no numbers, there's no underscores, right? It's just at Austin Zabak. So just give me a follow on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, you know, but those are really, I'm not on like Snapchat or anything. Yeah, you know, that's pretty much it.
Very, very cool, man. Austin, this has been a blast. I had so much fun. Congratulations on success to date. I can only imagine what you're going to accomplish in the next decade or so. It's going to be pretty awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, Michael. Thanks for having me.
You got it.